Hi, everyone. Welcome to the University of Massachusetts, a spotlight series where we spotlight different departments and feature different departments across campus. I'm really excited to share this spotlight with you, two very important departments on our campus. My name is Rachel Bukowski. I'm one of the assistant directors of admission for the University of Massachusetts. I'm also a very proud alum. I'm going to let my panelists introduce ourselves and then we'll dive right in. And just so you're aware, these are meant to be podcast style, short, more interview style Q&A. Obviously, this is being recorded. If you're watching it, you know that. And these are featured on our YouTube channel and websites. We have many more spotlights that we've done throughout the years. So feel free to take a look at all of those. So without further ado, I'm going to let my panelists introduce themselves. We're going to start with Ashia. Go ahead.
Hey folks, my name is Ashia Rishmay Alseed, she, her, hers. I'm the Associate Director for Student Development over at CMASS, which is the Center for Multicultural Advancement and Student Success. And I'm ready to talk to you and chat with you about CMASS stuff.
Go ahead, Adam.
Hey everyone, I'm Adam Ortiz. I use he, him, his pronouns. I am the Director of Student Success Outreach. I've been at UMass since 2013 and I'm happy to be here.
And go ahead, Audrey.
Hi everyone, my name is Audrey Gabriel. I use she, they pronouns. I am a junior here at UMass Amherst studying microbiology and public health, but I'm also one of the tour guides for admissions and an admissions diversity fellow. So I'm super excited to talk to you all about what my experience is with UMass, especially in this position.
Awesome. Thank you to all of you. And you're going to hear a lot more from most of them. You don't want to hear much from me. You want to hear from the experts. So my first question really is to start us off. I'm going to ask both Ashia and Adam this question, but could you just introduce your departments? What is it you do? What are the kind of those main highlights? Really anything you want to share about your department. So Ashia, we'll start with you again.
Sounds good. So in our area in CMASS, we have two components. We have our student development side, which oversees our student employees. We do conferences and educational activities around social justice, equity, and inclusion. We have 4 cultural centers. We have our Yuri Kuchiyama Cultural Center that targets the AAPI population, our Malcolm X Cultural Center, which targets our Black or African diaspora, our Latinx Cultural Center, which targets the Latinx diaspora. And then we have our Josephine White Eagle, which targets our Indigenous or global Indigenous population. We have student workers there who program, and our cultural organizations often use those spaces of solidarity. And we also have our fantastic success coaches, which are kind of like, I describe them as like college guidance counselors, where they can help you academically, but more around being a first generation student and being a student of color, navigating a predominantly white space, especially first generation. If you've been in areas that always looked like you, now you're swimming in a sea of people of difference. And so they're there to have those one-on-one conversations to help you acclimate more and just to figure out your life journey while you're here at UMass being revolutionary. And so that's what we do.
Thank you. Go ahead, Adam.
So in student success, we have a number of programs and initiatives where we interact with faculty, with staff, with academic advisors, where students in particular are concerned. The main focus of what we do really is providing platforms for students to reflect on and tell their stories. Providing opportunities to connect with the community and get to know things like resources, the people that are going to really pull, all of us through those moments that feel particularly challenging, and then defining and pursuing success, acknowledging that that looks different for every person, trying to provide some structure and framing for what that looks like for each student. And we do that through a variety of initiatives, including Smart About Money, which is a student-run financial wellness program. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a little bit. We have a podcast. We have a academic success skills toolkit series. We put out a student success planner every year. Our office houses the residential academic programs. We also coordinate the domestic study away program. So anybody who wants to study in the 5-college consortium or across, anywhere in the United States comes to our office. And then we coordinate with our wonderful campus partners, a lot of first-gen initiatives and transfer initiatives as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Audrey. Was there anything you wanted to add to that in terms of what it is they do or? we're going to talk more about your student perspective later. Okay, so we get a lot of questions. I actually got multiple questions today traveling to high schools about like getting involved and how students like find out about these resources that we have. We can talk about the resources that we have for students all day long, but how do they get involved? How do they find out about them? Obviously specifically both of your departments, how do students entering their first year go about, finding out about you? So Ashia, we'll start with you again.
Sure.
Keep it the same here the whole time.
No problem. So we are definitely working on having CMASS be in the forefront during new school orientation. So at our department and our cultural centers early, we are mentioned through Better Together, which is a peer mentor program that talks about equity, inclusion, and inclusiveness on campus, and in inter and interracial conversations around difference and acceptance. We also have programming like, during the summertime when new rotation is going on, that we do events for students to get to know us. But I think the way we get most of our students, and Adam, you may know this better than I, because I'm also new, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that most students of color somehow are kind of pulled into CMASS, into like a listserv. And so we're able to send weekly bulletins out and invitations about meeting with a success coach, coming to our office and describing what our centers are all about. And then from there, if you miss those emails, we do other things through expos. We have cultural connections. So we do a lot of outreach as well with our other departments too, and collaborations of events to get our names out there. And then we're on social media like every other group. So our cultural centers are there, our website, umass.edu/CMASS. You'll see our weekly bulletin. You'll see our cultural center Instagrams and Facebooks, and better ways you can also get to connect with us as well.
Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, I think that campus partner collaboration piece is so important, and also a big part of how I think our work gets out there as well. And I think in addition to that, areas where we tend to get a lot of traffic, we have an Instagram account. Fun fact, Instagram is like my favorite thing in the whole world. I am a huge fan, which feels fitting for my job. And so we pour an enormous amount of effort and energy and resources into making our Instagram one that is really comprehensive, and we try to be as engaging as possible and think of creative ways, to kind of spread the message about what we're doing, and then also just provide, again, opportunities for engagement. Like this past summer, we collaborated with the library to do a reading challenge via Instagram, which was pretty cool. And ended up with 400 students approximately who were reading and sharing out their books and stuff like that. So that's one way. We also have a transfer student newsletter that goes out once per month. So anybody who's a transfer student kind of gets updates and just the word about campus happenings and things like that. And then we send out a first gen specific newsletter twice a semester, naming resources and, again, events and just things that people could be aware of. And then, our podcast too. We started a podcast last year, and that is really neat to listen to because it's just a wide variety of student experiences, as they talk about things that they really were challenged by and places where they've really grown and what they've learned along the way. That's been really fun as well.
Awesome, thank you. And I'm gonna date myself here, but I always forget about social media, like how important it is in the current. Instagram was like just invented when I was graduating, so it was it's a whole new world now. How people find out about it, I actually forget to talk about it, which is bad. Okay, so Adam, this question specifically for you. You mentioned the Money Matters session that you do, so I'd love for you to tell us more about that, and just tell us about that resource for students.
Yeah. So as part of that, Smart About Money is our student group, and it's basically 8 undergrad students and a graduate student who work together to do all things financial wellness and education. Our group is really helpful when it comes to thinking about kind of like the bigger picture of finances. So they do presentations on things like investing and taxes and, like sort of cultivating some of the skills since now, not to imply that like if you budget right, you'll never have financial issues again, because lots of people's finances go way beyond those kind of immediate fix-it things. But I think that for anybody who's looking to sort of grow in their immediate financial skill set, Smart About Money is an awesome resource. If they don't know the answer to something, they'll point you in the right direction of where you need to go, whether it's the bursar's office, financial aid, lots of connections across campus, and they do one-to-one coaching. They do presentations. They do some funny, they do like a cash cab rendition a couple times a semester where they're riding around on golf carts, quizzing people about finances and things like that. So yeah, Smart About Money is definitely a resource that I want lots of people to check out.
Yeah, I would say that's probably one of the things that we get asked the most questions about, from students, but it's something that I feel like on the admissions side, we don't talk a lot about, especially for current students. So I love that you mentioned it and that we have that resource for students. It actually could probably be talked about more from all of us. Okay, so Audrey, we're going to kind of shift gears here towards you. So what would you tell a prospective student, either about CMASS or student success and their services, and why is it so important for students to get involved in these resources? I know we heard from obviously Ashi and Adam on that topic, but what would you say from the student perspective and kind of what's been your experience with that?
Yeah, of course. So as a tour guide, we always say there's so many ways to make a big school feel small, but you can't make a small school feel big. And I feel like CMASS and student success programs are definitely a major way that we make UMass seem a lot smaller because it builds that community. Not only are there so many resources offered and so many workshops, but it's also just a community of students. There are fun social events to attend where you get to meet people who come from the same background as you. And being at a PWI, that can be extremely validating, and it just it makes such a difference in your first year experience, and especially in your years afterwards, because being involved in services like this helps you navigate the process, but also just as a college student, you're going to have to advocate for yourself in so many different ways, but this is a resource specifically advocating for you, and that's so invaluable. You get to know people on a name basis. You won't be just another email on an emailing list. These are personal resources, and they really do set you up for success in the future.
I'm glad you mentioned the getting involved part, because that's something that adults tell students and we as admissions counselors tell students, but to hear a student say that, I think that has a really big impact. And I just want to make sure people who are listening know, could you tell everyone what PWI stands for, just in case there's folks who aren't aware?
Of course, PWI stands for primarily white institutions. So UMass is a PWI. There are also other schools who are historically Black colleges or universities. So that's kind of the subset of that, the opposite.
Perfect, thank you. Ashi and Adam, was there anything you wanted to add on to that you said, or anything?
No, I thought that was great. And I loved your experience, Audrey.
Yeah, thank you.
We always say this, that to hear from the the directors and the people who run these programs is great, but we want to hear from the students too. The students are really what make this, and students want to hear from students, and we're obviously very aware of that. So Audrey, another question for you. What's been your favorite part about working either with underrepresented students or working in diversity, or you can even share an experience maybe from being a tour guide, really anything like that?
Yeah, of course. So I'm a first-gen immigrant and college student myself, so definitely a really daunting time. And I remember feeling like I had been tossed into a game, but no one explained the instructions to me. And that was really intimidating. So being able to kind of work in my positions now and help underrepresented students and working in diversity, I feel like I'm that person that I wish I could have had at that time. And I also really value that I can be honest with people. That was something that I was really concerned about, that, college, admissions were just glazing over their experiences at the college and really just trying to sell the university. But I feel like as a diversity fellow and as a tour guide, I love being genuine with the students that I get to interact with, so that they know what they're coming for. And I'm not just selling a school, I'm really preparing them for this experience, because no matter where you end up, I hope that every student is successful.
I love that. And it's funny you're saying that. I had a student today who said that. She said she feels like sometimes admissions counselors just sort of tell them what they want to hear. And so it's really great. And then they get to the college and then they're like, wait a minute, this isn't not only is it what I wanted to hear, but it's not even true. And so high school students can see that. They can see right through that. And so I really appreciate that you said that, because they're very aware of that. So that was kind of actually all my questions. But Ashia and Adam, was there anything else you wanted to add kind of in wrap up? Any kind of like key points you want to hit home? Ashia, I'll start with you.
I just hope that everyone heard what Audrey said, and like, we are here for you. Our positions are a position of servitude. We've been there and done that. And so this is our chance to give back and to help you not feel like you've been tossed in a game with no instructions. And so whatever we can do, we will. And what we're not doing well, we'll work on. And so, yeah, that's all I have to say.
I agree with that. And I think related to that and what you said, Audrey, earlier, that idea about, making a big school feel small. When I was coming to UMass, I was coming from a tiny institution. And I remember telling a friend of mine, it's like a city. And she said, Adam, there are neighborhoods in every city. And I was like, totally. So I would just say on that note, like, just get connected in any way you can, whether it's with us, whether it's with, a student group, in any capacity, just to get connected and know that there are people here who will be there for you is really important.
Perfect. Yeah, Audrey, sorry. Yeah, I was just saying, Audrey, yeah, go ahead.
Just one thing I wanted to add to any prospective students watching this. Like I said, there are going to be so many things that you'll have to do and navigate for yourself. So really take advantage of the things that make it easier and make that process so much easier for you.
That's great advice. Thank you all. Actually, you all gave great advice and great insight. So I just want to thank you all for sharing and for being with us today and highlighting your amazing departments. Again, I just want to reiterate that we have a lot more spotlights that we've been doing kind of since the pandemic has hit, and those are all up on our YouTube page and website. We've actually featured CMASS a couple times now, so we've had multiple sessions with them, which is good. So you can check those out. So again, thank you all for being here. Excuse me. And we wish you all the best. So thank you.